Okay, this is a video tutorial for changing the color on a piece of hardware. So first thing we want to do is cut out the parts that we don't want to change the color of. So I'm just going to zoom in and do kind of a cutout of these brass fittings. I have a graphics tablet, so this goes pretty quickly for me, but it might go a little bit slower for you. I'm just holding down Shift to add to my selection. Clean that up a little bit. And now I'm holding Alt to take out of the selection. And then Shift again. You can kind of work on this as long as you want. And then I want to, without losing my selection, zoom back out and come back in on the next one. Add a little bit more in there. Oh, and I forgot to take out the inside part. Let's not forget that. And I'm just focusing on the top right now because we're going to do the bottom ones separately. Oh, looks like I slipped up and lost that. Okay. Holding down Shift because I already have a selection, so I want to make sure I add to it. I like to get really close so that I can, really be precise. So when I zoom back out, you won't be able to tell if I missed a spot or came in a little bit too far. Again, holding down Alt. And I don't know if you have a Mac, it might be a little different with a Mac. I know the Shift to add is the same. I'm trying to remember what the subtract hotkey is right now. I'll probably think of it in a minute. I mean, obviously you can just experiment with it a little bit and figure out what the hotkey is. Oh, and I did it again. Okay. Let me just back up a little bit. Okay. I keep making a mistake. I'm just going to do this one side. But you get the gist of what I'm doing here. So I'm going to copy. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to go to the selection tool. And if you right click, you should be able to get layer via copy. And if you can't get that, then try to just go edit, copy, and then edit, paste. And you should get a new layer. These are the little brass pieces. I can show you by moving them around. Okay, so I'll just undo that. Control Z. And then, so now that those are separate, the other thing you can do is go in and get the bottom, the reflection, because we want to control that as well. So let's see if I can actually get both of these without too much trouble. And the top of this doesn't really matter because the one that we just cut out is going to sit on top of it in the layers. Okay, from what I remember, you have all these tools in Elements. This is actually full Photoshop, but should be kind of mostly the same deal. I keep making that same mistake. Okay, let's see if I can add this one. All right, holding down Shift. Holding down Alt. It's either Command or Control on a Mac. I'm not sure. You can probably look it up. Or you can just fiddle around and see if you can figure it out. Alright, so I'm going to copy these out, copy and paste. And now they're on another layer underneath. You can see that kind of underneath. Undo. Okay, now I can actually take this and change the color on it. So I go up to, in Photoshop, it's Image, Adjustments, and Hue Saturation. I believe you have something like this somewhere in Elements. I'm not exactly sure where it is because I don't own a copy of Elements, but I'm sure I've seen these kinds of adjustments before. So I'll do these adjustments one at a time, and then you can go back and change it with, you know, the pieces that you have. Alright, so hue, I don't need to mess with. Saturation, I just want to drop that all the way down to 0, because right now we're going to white. Alright? Now, if you're not going to white, then you don't have to change this. You can just drag the hue to whatever color you want. You know, any color in the rainbow. I'm just dragging this really slowly. And you know, if you like that green but it's too bright, now you can adjust the saturation a little bit. Okay? So that's kind of the easy part of that adjustment. And we can go back and adjust these the same way. You actually go in to these individual layers and adjust the hue and saturation on each one of those layers. Okay, and I'll do that in a second. But what we want is to make it, we're going to make it white because that's a little bit more difficult. So here's, now it's gray. And we're going to go ahead and make it all the way white. Now, I have a lot of different kinds of options in Photoshop. I'm not sure exactly what you have. I think that you have a curves tool. And this thing is pretty tricky, so I'm gonna do this with curves, and then I'm gonna go back and do it with something else. I'm not sure how that's gonna go because I like to use curves a lot. But so if you're going to white right now, it kind of looks gray. You want to just take this curve, and I believe you bring it up. Let me turn the preview on. Yeah, if you just bring it up a little bit, it makes it feel like it's white. You're gonna keep your darks and your bright lights. That's what this is here. These are the whites and these are the darks. But you're going to bring all the grays up. So that's kind of what that does. And if I hit OK, then it's white. If I drag this down, it's going to feel more like it's black. Okay, so you can use that. I'm going to make it white. And then now we can come into here. And we see that those kind of look a little jagged, but we're not going to worry about that yet. I'm going to take number 6, layer 6, the kind of reflection. Actually, let's start with the actual fittings themselves because they look a little bit red to me. So I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna do the same hue saturation adjustment. They look a little bit red, so let's drag them. Oh, that's worse. So let's go the other way just a little bit, and that seems more true to like a brass fitting. Okay, and then let's go into this other one. Now, this one has a lot of red. So what we're going to do is do a further shift. And now that color looks about right, but it looks kind of strange. So we're going to take the saturation down so that it looks more like a reflection. We're actually going to make it a little bit brighter too because it's reflecting in white. So I'm bringing the lightness up here. Now you may have these controls in a different place in Elements, but they're there. Okay, and now if you really want to get picky about it, you can go in with like a blur tool or something and then kind of smudge these edges a little bit, and that'll look better once you back out again. So I'm just gonna switch between layers and blur these edges a little bit. You see these are a little bit pink, so I could actually go in and sponge tool and desaturate. I have a lot of controls here, but you don't need all this stuff. You can really just pick a good brush size and kind of desaturate the edges here, just so they don't look so pink. And just kind of do that for each one. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I could do the other top one here. It's the same story. You might do a little bit more blurring, but that's kind of done. I mean, you know, obviously it's half done, but I can turn these off and actually jump back this way and show you the original file here. So that's before and that's after. But I just did the same process. You can see these are actually adjustment layers instead of making the adjustment to the layer itself. But don't worry about that. It's just the same old stuff. And here's your other file. This one will be much easier because I don't have to actually pull anything out. I can just do that same set of steps. The hue saturation adjustment, which is just saturation to 0 in this case because we're going to white. And then curves, and that makes it white. You can even tweak this a little bit because you want to get a little more detail in there, maybe. Bring this up. And you can play with this a little bit. I wouldn't get too crazy with it though, because it can be kind of frustrating. Okay, that's curves. I'm going to try this one a different way because I said I would. Let's try exposure. I don't know if you have that. This doesn't look like the best tool for this. Okay. And levels. Should be able to do this with levels. Yeah, it looks like levels could work okay. So you could just drag that middle slider down and that'll make it more white. And conversely, you can bring it up and it'll make it black. All right. So I'm going to make this one white and send it off to you. And I hope that helps. All right.